MSNBC's Joy Reid thinks President Trump might actually be faking it. More Trump officials test positive for coronavirus. Plus, we'll discuss all of this with our special guest, Chris Adamo. All that and more. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is Saturday Live Stream.
And God bless the United States of America.
All right, friends, thank you so much for tuning in on your Saturday. I'm so happy that you could make it. We've got a lot to go over, a lot of politics to discuss. Hopefully, we'll actually have Chris Adamo online. I'm not sure where he is right now, but we're going to get in touch with him. We're going to get him on, throw our new producers a big old wrinkle. I'm bringing in a guest later if he shows up. But until then, we have a lot to go over. And I want to start with the media's reaction and what's going on, because I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but reaction, for the most part, from the Democrats to President Trump and coronavirus has been supportive. Prayers are with him. Let's come together. That type of message. You know, you can judge for yourself what you think of these messages, but that's by and large what has been coming through, with some exceptions. Like Democrat Rashida Tlaib, give me a break. She puts out on Twitter that the president only cares about himself and his life. That's it. That's what she tweets when all of this is going down and other Democrats are coming together. It's so frustrating, so disgusting on the part of her and, you know, who knows what else the squad's actually thinking. But that's the Democrats by and large. That's Rashida Tlaib in particular. But look at what is going on in the media, folks. That is what is just, that's the topic for today and what has me so frustrated. Check out what MSNBC's Joy Reid just tweeted. Here's how wrecked Trump's credibility is at this point. I've got a cell phone full of texts from people who aren't sure whether to believe Trump actually has COVID. He lies so much, one friend just texted. Is he just doing this to get out of the debates? Others are texting. So give me a break, folks. When all of this is going down, MSNBC's Joy Reid is pushing conspiracy theories. I mean, think about this. Here's the president of the United States, President Trump, who has more energy than anyone, who likes going out and going to the rallies, who is looking forward to the debate. And as I did in my post-debate analysis, he was on. His body language looked great. He was focused. He was ready to go. He was jumping in with a lot of energy. But this is the president of the United States. And she thinks that he might be faking it, because that's what she's saying with a tweet like that, saying people have been texting me. We don't know if he's faking it or not. We can't really trust him. Maybe he wants to dodge debates. This is insane, folks. This is absolutely insane, but that's what she does. So, of course, she was blasted on social media. Lots of great comments. One of them in particular stood out to me. This is from Jerry Dunleavy. This is what he tweeted. It looks like the conspiracy theorist who hacked Joy Reid's blog has now apparently hacked her Twitter account too. Cybersecurity is a serious problem. So I just love that. That reference, of course, is to back Joy Reid got busted for her blog with homophobic tweets or anti-Semitic tweets, you name it. She got busted for that, and she said someone hacked into her blog. Of course, the left-wing media let that go. They just ignored it. You know, no one, a conservative would actually pay the price for doing stuff like that. She said that she got hacked, and they let it go. So this guy's saying maybe this conspiracy theory is from that same hacker, because it's just as ridiculous, it's just as lame. And that's Joy Reid. But it wasn't done there. CNN's Jim Acosta. Here's President Trump. He's leaving on Marine One. Jim Acosta tweets this. Trump did not stop for questions. Unreal. This little baby, this unprofessional baby, feels dissed because President Trump, who has tested positive for COVID-19, heads out to Marine One and doesn't come over to the reporters for questions. Can you imagine if he had done that? I mean, this is where the media will blast the president regardless of what he does. He goes one way, he goes the other, they'll blast him. If he came over, then they said, President Trump doesn't care about us. He's risking infecting us with COVID-19. That's what Jim Acosta would be tweeting. President goes straight to the helicopter, then Jim Acosta gets mad. This is the media, folks, and I go over it time and time again. They are so pathetic. They are so lame. And yet, like we saw in the press conference this week, They are on the attack because all they care about is a left-wing agenda. All they care about is pushing a narrative that supports the Democrats. It's unreal, and professionalism has been thrown out the window. So next, I want to give you an update on what's been going on, because this has been a crazy day and a half, folks. A crazy day and a half. I mean, beginning late Thursday night, early Friday morning. I had already prepped for the Friday show. I wake up and Sky News is calling. Can you be on TV? I'm checking. I don't even know that was my first indication that something was up, because I turned my phone on. I always turn it off overnight. Turn it on. There's text for going on TV. And then I said, uh-oh. And then I pull up the news and see what's going on. So it all started with this late night tweet. President Trump tweeted this. Tonight, the First Lady and I tested positive for COVID-19. We will begin our quarantine and recovery process immediately. We will get through this together. So that was Friday. That's what he did. So then late yesterday, when Jim Acosta is having his little baby meltdown, his journalistic temper tantrum, President Trump left for Walter Reed Hospital for more treatment. And before he did, though, he recorded a message for the American people. And this is what Trump said.
I want to thank everybody for the tremendous support. I'm going to Walter Reed Hospital. I think I'm doing very well, but we're going to make sure that things work out. The First Lady is doing very well. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. I will never forget it. Thank you.
All right, so that's the latest. So before President Trump left, while he was still in the White House, he took what was known as an antibody cocktail from a company called Regeneron. That was treatment number one. Then over at Walter Reed, he took the remdesivir treatment. That's what he's been given. That's what he's doing. He said the First Lady has mild symptoms. She's doing great. But the problem is, what the media are jumping on is that a number of Trump officials now have come up and tested positive for coronavirus. We've got Kellyanne Conway, who was the senior counselor to President Trump. We've got Ronna McDaniel, who's the RNC chairman. We've got Bill Stepien, who is the 2020 Trump campaign manager. We've got Senators Mike Lee, Tom Tullis. We've got Johnson in Wisconsin. A number of officials now have tested positive, and the media are absolutely going nuts. So the thing is what do we do about it? What is going on? What is emerging as the media narrative? And this is what is so frustrating. We have a debate coming up on October 15th. That, I believe, is past 10 days from this announcement, but into the 15-day window that was first published for President Trump's self-quarantine. I don't really think it takes that long based on the data and what others have been doing, but that's what's out there right now. So is that debate in jeopardy? Would they move to some kind of virtual debate? We'll have to see. As it is right now, the vice presidential debate, Vice President Pence tested negative, so that is still on against Kamala Harris. What happens with the debate going forward? I guess according to Joy Reid, she thinks the president might be trying to ditch the debate, doesn't want to debate Joe Biden. And I've got some take on the first debate too that we can go into. But this is the politics, folks. What's going to happen now that the Trump campaign has clearly gone down in energy because the president himself, the source of all this energy, isn't out there. He isn't on the campaign trail. He's not going from city to city getting people fired up. That part is just done for now, but surrogates can still go out there. Ads can still run. Funds can still be raised. We can still get the message out. The problem is that the media are jumping all over this. They are absolutely on fire. Jake Tapper over at CNN said President Trump has now become a symbol of his own failure on coronavirus. It's outrageous, but this is where messaging is key. This is where we need a strong message. And this is what, if Chris joins us, we'll discuss it with him. But I'll be happy to take your questions too on the strategy, because here is what I think should be done, because this is a golden opportunity. And I would be remiss if I didn't go over to set the stage these stats on coronavirus, because one thing that I always try to do, whether it's a guest appearance on TV or on the show with you guys, is give you the facts, give you my opinions on it, and be consistent. If there was a day that came when I'm starting to say weird stuff or not be consistent, then stop watching, because that is not what I am all about. And to talk about this, then you have to go over the facts. The facts are that 99.99% of the people who get this will be fine. 80 to 85% have little to no symptoms. That stat has never changed. As people are going back to school and the media freaked out about more cases, you know what went up? Cases. You know what went down? Hospitalizations, ER visits, ICU visits, deaths. All of those are going down. People are dealing with this thing. So I think effective messaging from the Trump campaign, once he gets done with this, because there is still plenty of time in the campaign to get back on track based on standard recovery times from coronavirus. People need to realize that unless you are suffering from, on average, more than 2-point-something comorbidities, other things that ail you, serious underlying conditions, unless you are one of those people, this is less serious than the seasonal flu. For those with those underlying conditions, it's more serious. But for the vast majority, it is less deadly than the seasonal flu. And so what all of these Trump people need to do is, once they recover, is show people that, yes, we understand this could be a kick in the butt. You know, some of them that have mild symptoms, talk about it. Some of them that have a bad case, talk about it, and show people that, guess what? There are millions of people who have had this. There are millions of people who have recovered. We've recovered. We know to keep the vulnerable safe. We know who's really in danger. Look at all of us. There are millions of people out there that have tested positive. There are millions and millions and millions more who have had it but never got tested because it doesn't do anything to them. We need, with the media on one side talking about, oh, this is gloom and doom, we need to actually get people together and say, look, we've had it. We understand how it can affect some people. We've all had it. We're getting through it. Let's get the economy going. Let's get the jobs going. Let's get the country moving in the right direction. Following President Trump's plan, following the recommendations from the CDC, we took our treatments. We're going forward. That's what they need to do. They need to show a positive message of understanding and recovery to counter what the media are saying, because they are just going to jump on this like all of a sudden it's the end of the world because these relatively young, healthy people and with these Trump campaign officials have coronavirus. It is not the end of the world, not even close. They need to keep pushing. They need to keep on this. And that is the message that I would get out there, because the Democrats, now they want to put a halt to the Senate confirmation hearings. That is a serious deal, because Senator Mike Lee, Tom Tullis, they're both on the Senate Judiciary Committee. They both tested positive. So they can go into observe hearings remotely. By the time they are done with their quarantines and treatments, they likely might not miss anything anyway, because the hearings aren't scheduled to start till October 12th. Thankfully, Judge Amy Coney Barrett has already had coronavirus earlier this summer. She tested negative just recently when all of this was blowing up. But can you imagine the media freak out if she actually is down? I mean, give me a break. Again, the media are pushing this narrative that because you get it, it's all gloom and doom. And because Trump officials have it, it's all gloom and doom. We have to push through that with a positive message. I actually think that this could become the symbol for success for the Trump campaign, to show that this coronavirus will not keep us down. It will not defeat us. It will not hamper what is going on with Make America Great Again. We had built the greatest economy in the world, record low unemployment, wages, middle class wages going up, manufacturing coming back, regulations going down, energy production going up, you name it, that's what we were doing. That's what we were doing, despite the fact that President Trump faced resistance from his own party at the beginning and Democrats throughout. Have you ever seen a president been thrown so much stuff as this guy has and come back? That's why with these officials, and the president included, getting coronavirus, it makes for the ultimate comeback story, that not only is our president coming back, but the country is coming back. And we're coming back stronger than ever. We are beating this. We are going to beat it back. And we are going to build an economy that is better than we had before. More jobs for people, better wages for people, more money in your pocket, a better life, better education, better development in the Black and Hispanic communities, you name it. President Trump needs to push it. This could be the great comeback story. That's the message they need to push. I think it will inspire the country. Everyone wants President Trump to recover from this. The messages from around the world have been great. I think that's the way to go. I think if the team does that, this can actually be a net positive for the campaign. Right now, they have to deal with things, but we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to look down real quick. I want to get your questions if there's questions coming in, because Leroy Hawley, he asked about these other campaign officials getting Kung flu. So I think I addressed that. I don't think it's a big deal because millions and millions of people have had it. Again, 80 to 85% will have little to no symptoms. And even if they do, I mean, sometimes in my household, the flu gets some people worse. They joke at our house over here because I never get sick. So if there's a period of time during flu season from maybe noon to 6 that I'm not feeling good, then I say I just had the flu, because that's how it tends to be. Some people are like that. Some will get it worse, okay? We understand. Get that message out. I would hope that these people who are used to talking to the media, who now have it, will actually come out and talk about the recovery, which is something that we seldom hear in the media. All right. Someone was asking about the timing of all of this. With this coming out, the media are speculating that it's one of two things where this originated. One could be something with the debate prep or actually at the debate. The other is talking about the Rose Garden ceremony when President Trump announced Judge Amy Coney Barrett. I don't know where it originated. We'll hear more from the media. They might be talking about it right now during the show, but they'll probably figure it out where it all started. But the thing is, again, the whole idea with coronavirus is to know the certain population that are vulnerable, the ones that have these likelihoods, these diseases or enhanced or decreased immune system, those type of people, keep them safe. The rest of the people can get it and go on with their business. And that's what I want to see right there. Let me see, what else? Any other questions right here? Someone was asking, we've got a question about why President Trump went to Walter Reed. All right, one, I think the big headline out there was under an abundance of caution. And two, whether the president has in that 80 to 85% little to no symptoms, or he has greater symptoms, send the President of the United States to Walter Reed. Make sure he's checked out. The last thing we want to show is any kind of instability, not only at home, but abroad. Foreign leaders look at stuff like this. The North Koreas, the Chinas, Russia, they look at things like this. How is our president doing? Because that is the president, that is our leadership, that is our stability, that is the country in a sense. So get him there, make sure he has the best treatment, get him back on his feet. I think it is quite normal, acceptable, and you should do it to treat the President of the United States, regardless of party, with a little extra care. I think that would be a good idea. So otherwise, I have confidence that President Trump will get through this just fine, because his physician has come out on his previous physicals saying the president is in perfect health. Dr. Scott Atlas, who's the coronavirus advisor to President Trump, has said that even people in their 70s, if they're in good health, overwhelmingly recover from coronavirus. That's just the stats. That's not spin, folks. When I talk about my feelings on coronavirus, it is based on the data that we are seeing. So I think President Trump should have a good recovery. We'll wait and see. We'll see how it goes. The rest of those folks on the Trump campaign, I think they'll do fine too, because most people do, and we'll see how it goes. But other than that, we have any other questions coming in? I'm excited to see what happens going forward. I mean, this campaign has been nuts. I was going to put together kind of a breakdown of the election as we go forward now. That's kind of all been, turned upside down. But here's what we're looking at going into this home stretch. All right. There's a lot of states out there that are not in play. Solid red ones, leaning red, solid blue, leaning blue. We've got that every single election. Some of the states that are emerging as the battleground states, I'll give you a few. We've got Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. We've got Florida, Arizona, North Carolina. Those are the 6 that consistently end up in Cook's Political Report or Politico or Real Clear Politics. Those are the ones that are talked about over and over. Of those, the thing that put President Trump over the top in 2016 was getting that stretch of states, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. No president of the United States, no Republican, had won all 3 of those since Ronald Reagan. You have to go back to Ronald Reagan to get those. And then you go a little farther west, he almost got Minnesota. It was that close. But Wisconsin was very close. These states were close races. And you would expect that since the president hasn't won all 3 since Ronald Reagan. Those are definitely in play, along with North Carolina, Florida, Arizona. Now, recent polls, ones that just came out a few days ago, show that Arizona is actually now trending in the president's direction. I really like the sound of that. I like that one a lot because that has a key Senate race too. We have to keep the Senate, folks. We are up 53-47 in the Senate with a lot of crucial races. We've got Gardner in Colorado, tough race. We've got Susan Collins in Maine, tough race. We got Blackburn, McSally in Arizona, very tough race, running against a Democrat, former astronaut. That is the race that if the state in general starts to trend more in President Trump's direction, that can help carry her across the finish line as well. And that is a seat that we desperately need to keep. We'll pick up one in Alabama. I'm very confident on that. So that's a plus for us. But as far as defending seats, this time around, it changes, every cycle, depending on which senators are up for re-election. This time around, just the facts of it, we have a lot of Senate seats to defend. With Susan Collins, Cory Gardner, McSally, those are tough races, folks. That's a lot that we need to do. But Tom Tullis over in North Carolina is another one that's mentioned. I like the feel, the trends of North Carolina. I think we're going to take that. I think we're going to take Florida. I think we're going to take Pennsylvania. I think we're going to be all right. This throws a lot of chaos into it. But if we can bring Arizona along, make sure Arizona is in our column, then it gives us some extra padding in case some things go differently that didn't happen in 2016. But I think President Trump has run a strong campaign, and I think this could actually help us finish even stronger. We've got a question here from Propa Cockney, who's a friend of the show, and he tunes into our Sky News stuff over in the UK. Steve Scully is scheduled to be the next moderator of the presidential debate. He is from C-SPAN, and he was a former intern for Joe Biden. And folks, this is what is so frustrating with these debates, is that Chris Wallace is probably the one that they pegged to be the middle of the road guy. He's the middle of the road guy, and look at his performance. Look at what actually happened in the first debate. It was 2-on-1. I know that feeling. Go on Sky News. It was 2-on-1 on the last time. But this is what Chris Wallace did. Steve Scully, he was an intern for Joe Biden, folks. I mean, so many times I wish that we could get different people to serve as moderators and have the media simply cover the event, just like any other coverage of an event. Media people should not be moderating an event that the media are covering. Let other people, political people, be in there running the debates and keep the journalists and media types covering it, not participating in it. I don't like that pick at all. We'll see how it goes. But I am looking forward to the debates in general because I think President Trump, after looking at debate number 1, making some fine tuning, some adjustments, I think this could absolutely be a blowout. And that's the only thing, I gave my grades on the previous show, but I want to get into a little bit more in depth on debate number one, because it took me a little while to at least to myself, figure out, why do you have such a, an uneasy feeling about debate number one? I mean, you think Trump won it, right? And I'm like, yeah, he won it. There was no doubt about it in my mind. So what was the deal? And here's the deal, folks. And this is why I'm dying for debate two and debate three, where President Trump could really let it rip. And what was bugging me before is the athlete side of me, the competitor side of me, because especially in one-on-one sports, which is kind of how I grew up after baseball, which is tennis and racing, there's a competitor mentality when you go against a singular opponent. And there's usually two outcomes. You have the tough, close battle where you're just trading blows back and forth, back and forth. And you will usually emerge with that, with this sense of respect for your opponent, and just, I'm glad I got through that. Let's improve. Let's do better next time. But wow, what a battle. The other side of that is when you go against a weaker opponent, when you go against someone which you can see, where you knew going in, or you can see at the outset that this person is weaker. Because as a competitor, you should only have one single mindset, and that is to crush the opponent, to put them down so that they feel it the next time. And that was the situation for debate number one. Joe Biden had no good responses. President Trump had great body language. He had great responses. If they would have just altered the approach a little bit, I think he could have absolutely destroyed Joe Biden. And that's what had been bugging me, because now it gave the media an opportunity to say, oh, look at what happened here. It gave Joe Biden a chance to say, wow, I survived that one, because his campaign was stressed out going into debate number one, wondering how he'd do, wondering if he'd even show up, wondering if he'd say anything ridiculous. Well, they got to get through that and fight another day. But if President Trump would have just hammered him, it would have lasted. It would have lingered. And that's what was been bugging me. And I wanted to share that with all of you guys, because that is just the competitor mentality. If you see a weaker opponent, you put them down. You do not give them any effort to think, oh man, I'm the underdog, but you know what? I'm doing okay. Maybe in the next debate, I'll do even better. No, you want the bumps and bruises and the beatdown to last mentally. And then when they go in there, they think, oh, it's just going to be round two of the same old thing. So that's what I really think in the aftermath of debate one. I think President Trump won, but I think it could have been a complete and total beatdown, especially if we didn't have a crazy moderator like Chris Wallace over there. Thanks, Kester. Daniel Kester asked if I'd moderate the next debate. I don't think I want any part of that. The other day on Sky News, I did have a lot of fun debating former U.S. Senator Byron Dorgan from North Dakota. That was cool. I really enjoyed that. You guys can check that one out. It's in my On the Air playlist. That was a lot of fun, but I think I will stay away from debate moderating. I don't think that'd be fun. I'd rather be the debater, not the moderator. Another question from Chris R. Do you think the Dems will use COVID as an excuse to delay the Supreme Court information? That's what they're already trying. They're already trying to do that. And they've got the ammunition in that two members of the Senate Judiciary Committee, Senator Mike Lee and Tullis, have tested positive. They've tested positive. They're now in quarantine. So, like I said before, they're having means they can participate in the hearings remotely. But Chuck Schumer, all of these folks are going to be pushing for it to be delayed. Judge Barrett, she's fine. But the politics of this all is that somehow with coronavirus, we have to stop everything. We have to lock down everything. We can't do the business of government. We can't be out there listening to people talk. I just went through a thousands and thousands of person convention, Republican Party of State convention this summer, all remote, all on Zoom. It was crazy. It was chaotic, but it can be done. We're talking about the Senate Judiciary Committee and then bring people back to vote. It can be done. There's no reason at all to delay this, none whatsoever. But to the question, the Democrats are definitely going to try it. They're definitely going to say it, and they're definitely going to spin this whole case of President Trump and his team getting coronavirus in a negative light. Oh, I want to give a quick thank you to Leroy Crush Groovin for super chats. I really appreciate that. Any other questions out there, folks? Oh, we got another one, another super chat. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Let me see another quick scan. Oh, here's one. This is pretty cool. This is Okie Ag. Ask about the political people as moderators. What about real working class individuals with questions and expecting real true answers? Well, let me see. You're dealing with politicians. So the last part, the real true answers, I don't know if that's going to happen. But as far as other people asking questions, that's the whole idea of these town halls. And coronavirus has thrown that in disarray. But this next debate was actually scheduled to be a town hall with about 15 people in there. But we've seen, at least on the separate occasions, when President Trump had one on ABC and then Joe Biden had one, I believe, on CNN, how it was all stacked. Softball questions, Democrats asking. It would be great. I would love this. I actually love the question, but I love the concept too of get everyday working Americans out there that have to deal with the bills and the jobs and the stress and the education of their kids, feeding their kids. What's going on? How do policies affect me? You know, that's what the American people really want to know is how do all these policies, because a lot of times we elect people, they go off to Washington, we never see them again. How do these policies affect me? The problem is that that's a great concept, a great idea, but can it really happen? Can you really bring people together that don't have an agenda, given the chance that they get to be on TV, ask a question on TV, participate in a national debate? I don't know if that's possible. I don't know if they can actually do it. But if we could get people like that, spanning conservative, liberal, middle of the road, independent, I think it would be great, and have these guys answer questions, have time for rebuttal so that real information on real issues without moderators stepping in and spinning it themselves, I think would be super effective. All right, folks, I think we're going to wrap up for today. I had a great time. Oh my gosh, I didn't even push our subscribe. I've just been going off on all these issues. So I do want to do this before we wrap up. I'll probably take a couple questions. Is if you're new to the show or haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. And when you do, please hit that bell so you'll be notified. We're making our push for 100,000 subscribers by Election Day, 100K by Election Day, and we can do it with your help. In fact, probably today, we are going to hit 94,000 subscribers. We're closing in on 94,000 subscribers, folks, on a show that started with 0. And it's all because of you. It's the super chats. It's the participation. It's the family environment that we have on the chat. That's why I love it. We have a show at 11:45, 13-minute news hour. A half hour before is when I first jump on to talk with everybody. And I do that because I love you guys. I love the fact that you show up and are committed to the show. So I'm committed to keep growing it, keep making it better. But the whole idea that we started with 0 and now have 94,000 and we're getting closer to that 100,000. We've got a month to go till Election Day. Maybe we can do it. Maybe we can actually hit our 100K by Election Day. I hope we can, but I want to give a special shout out to our moderators, LD Murray, Joe Heller, Steel for Real, Storm Cop. You guys are doing great. I don't get a chance to really observe the chat during the show, so I don't know if they, how they've been doing. Let me know how the moderators have done, all right? Because I need to get some feedback on how they did, so I know if I should give them a raise or not, or send them another hat. I promised them a hat, but it'll be contingent on this feedback right here. Otherwise, I do want to introduce, before we sign off, we got a new producer, folks. We got a producer in training, so give a big shout out to Beth and our producer intern, Sonia. I'm excited to work with them. We've been testing. This is our first show together, first live show. I think it's gone really well. I'm very excited about it, but a big shout out to them. Let me know what you think about them in the comments. Leave some comments in the super chat. I'll be around after the show. But until then, our next show is Monday, regular time, same bad channel. But before you go, please subscribe. And when you do, please hit that bell so you'll be notified. And we'll see you next time. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a Saturday live stream. Okay, friends, thanks so much for watching. And before you go, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you'll be notified. And here's a special video just for you so you can watch even more of the 13-minute news hour. And don't forget to check out GOPUSA.com for the best in conservative news and commentary. We'll see you next time.